the most. In the middle of the road, I'm running the globe. I'm fighting for those that give everything to get back what they owe. So close, don't fold. Live bright, live bold. Kick back, get goals. Light it up for yours. I need your energy.
What's good, YouTube? It's Lyndon again, back with another video. Get comfortable in my chair. Alright, so as you can tell by the title, man, why you don't need friends, right? So before I get into it, man, make sure y'all like this video, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video from yours truly. All right, so man, friends, right? Friends, we all got them, or at least, you know, we think we have them, right? So I got some notes here, so that's why I'm looking down in case you start wondering. All right, so by definition, right, definition of friends is a person whom one knows and with whom one has a bond of mutual affection, typically exclusive of sexual or family relations, right? So basically that means that somebody, you know, you feel me, you know, they think you cool, you think they cool, and you know, that's it, right? But what I want to talk about today, man, is the concept of friends can have us in a pretty bad space sometimes, right? And when I say you don't need friends, I'm not saying, hey man, listen, if you got friends, cut them off, they're useless, no new friends, all that. I'm not saying that, right? What I'm saying is you don't need friends to validate certain things about yourself, or validate what you want to be in life, who you aspire to be, right? You don't need friends in that aspect, okay? A lot of times, us as human beings, we don't like to make certain decisions for ourselves unless the people around us, right? That's the people in our circle, the people close to us are in agreement, or they think it's a good idea, or they think it fits our personalities, or they're in love with the idea, right? Unless those people around us feel like what we want to do, who we want to be is a good idea, we won't do it, right? We won't take certain jobs, we won't move to certain places, we won't be with certain people, we won't choose to be alone, we won't pursue certain endeavors that we know we're really passionate about because we feel like we need our friends or the people around us to validate those things, right? And I've been through that. You know, I used to really care a lot about what people said or what people thought, you know, and oftentimes I would take their word as law in my life, right? And I would ask for advice, I would take the advice, and I would use the advice, but then the advice would come back to kick me in the ass, right? So one thing you got to understand is when you're seeking advice, especially from people who you consider friends or people close to you and around you, right? Just because it worked for them does not mean it will work for you, right? Just because they chose to do or not do something and hey, it played out beautifully in their lives does not mean the same results will happen to you. That's why you have to form a certain level of self-worth, a certain level of self-trust. More importantly, you have to learn how to trust yourself. And that's something that I learned, right? And so like I said, I went through this phase where, man, I would just ask people for advice. If I wanted to do something in life, I had to check with the people that was close to me. I had to run it by friends. I had to, you know, and a lot of times, man, it led me to places that I ultimately did not want to end up, if that makes sense, right? Not saying it's anybody's fault, not saying that I'm not accountable for my own actions, but me not filtering through advice and applying what I needed and throwing out what I didn't, you know, I made a lot of poor choices, right? So after that phase, I went through another phase. So I was like, all right, screw it, bro. I'm gonna just do it myself. I ain't asking nobody for no advice. I ain't asking nobody for opinions. It was bump all of that, right? So I went through a phase where, you know, I just isolated myself. You know what I'm saying? I isolated myself, and this was for a couple of years, actually. And that also led to me not making the best decisions or the best choices, or me put myself in certain predicaments that maybe had I asked for advice or had I really seek guidance, I wouldn't have been in those positions or predicaments, right? So now I'm at a place where I'm taking a lesson from being over reliant on people, and I'm taking a lesson from isolating myself, and I'm finding a balance, so to speak, right? I have, instead of running to a bunch of friends or running to a bunch of people for validation or whatever the case may be, now I have a select couple of people, literally a few people. I don't even need one hand to count all of them, but I have a couple of people I'll go to when it's clutch decisions that I got to make for myself and my family, or I got an idea. I'll go to them for advice, right? But I'll filter through the advice. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll take the advice. First, I'll look at their life and I'll see how the advice worked for them. And if I see that, okay, that really ain't work out for you, I'm probably not going to use that part of the advice. Okay, but this did have you did get a good result from this. I may apply that to my life, right? And so lately, man, I would say for the past 2 months I've been doing that, and it's been working. I kind of throw out what I don't need and use what I do need. But ultimately, what I want to tell you is that you don't need friends in the sense of validating or needing people to be in agreement for you to make the best decision for yourself. All right? You don't need friends in that aspect, because ultimately, no matter what advice you take, no matter what they tell you, you are the person that will have to ultimately deal with whatever decision that you choose or choose not to make. Okay? So you have to learn how to trust yourself. I had to go through that, man. I had to learn how to trust my instincts, my gut feelings. I had to learn how to trust the God that's on the inside of me. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and it's a process, man. I'm learning everything in life is a process. It's really a process. And you got to embrace the process, man. Just because you may make one poor decision does not mean that you are a person of poor quality. Like that just means that one decision does not sum you up entirely as a person. You make a poor decision, you learn from it, you apply that lesson to somebody else. You apply that lesson to another aspect of your life, right? And so it's good to have friends, right? Friends, it's part of networking. You build certain relationships. Hey, you may meet somebody, a complete stranger, you become friends. This person may have a connection in whatever field that you're interested in a whole nother state, a whole nother part of the country. And here you are, God has placed them in your path, and now you're going to another level simply because you made that connection, right? But don't depend on friends for the entirety of your being, if that makes sense, right? I'm going off the cuff here, so I'm trying to get my words together and everything. But that's what I mean by you don't need friends, right? You don't need them. You don't need them to validate you. You don't need them to prove what type of person you are, right? You don't need them to agree with who you want to be in life, what career field, right? You may have went to school to be a engineer major because it sounds good, right? And all your friends and people around you were like, yeah, that's a great career field. You can make a lot of money, but deep down you want to be a painter, right? So now you go into your friends saying, well, hey, I want to be a painter. I don't know if I want to be an engineer. And they're like, what, are you stupid? Ain't no money in painting. You gonna not be an engineer so you can go paint? And now here you are. You've based your decision off of their opinions, and now you're miserable, right? You're in a job you hate. Every day you wake up, it's a drag. You don't need friends in that aspect. All right. So remember, don't chase what the world perceives to be great. Chase your purpose. And until next time, peace.